Hello, Dad here. It's Sunday, 29 April 2018. I'm just chilling for a few minutes before I head off to a church meeting. And I was thinking about something that happened in the news recently up in Toronto. There was this person named Manassian that rented a truck and plowed into a group of people. And apparently, my initial thoughts were wrong, because it had all the earmarks of something inspired by, the magazine Inspire, which is a tract put out by radical Islamists to help rid the world of us kuffar. But apparently, my understanding was wrong, and he was part of a group that called themselves, anyway, I'm not sure if it's an official organized group, but called Incel, I-N-C-E-L. And from what I understand, that stands for involuntarily celibate. And these people that feel that they're so victimized by whatever, whether it's their perceived look or social standing or level of education or whatever, they feel sexually frustrated because they are not having the popular social myth happening in their lives about multiple random non-committal liaisons with other people in order to satisfy their lusts. And that got me thinking a little bit, just on a kind of a sidetrack, how much culpability do we have as a society for abandoning a certain set of core values that have been developed over millennia that helped make society function? And granted, I'm not ignorant to the fact that society has never been perfect. But there are certain ideals that we adhere to, or at least a lot of us adhere to try to live peaceful lives and to engage in commerce and have society function in a civil manner. Anyway, so back to Incel, and the one of the key things that struck out to me anyway, because I do like to teach assault and rape prevention classes, is situational awareness. Granted, that's not going to stop everything. If somebody wanted to come up behind you and shoot you in the back of the head, there's not a whole lot that you can do to prevent that, other than trying to do your best to stay in the right place at the right time. Do your best to avoid areas, places, events, people that might lend itself to more victims or attracting more predators. And I want to start throwing together some videos in order to help teach people to be, not to be victims, and to help people understand that violence is a tool. As Tim Larkin is with Target Focus Training is fond of saying, just like a hammer. A hammer can be used either to build a house, you can build a synagogue, or you can club somebody's brains in and kill them with that hammer. It's just a tool. And unfortunately, a lot of good people, I found this especially among the Christian community that I deal with, in a large extent, they feel that violence in and of itself is wrong. And consequently, a lot of these people become victims or self-righteous martyrs because they weren't willing to stand up for themselves. And that's what I try to bring to people. It's okay to protect yourself. And I'm not talking about a particular school of martial arts or methodologies, but principles. It doesn't take a lot of training and skill when you feel your life is in danger. I need to preface this because there's going to be some goofball out there that will misconstrue what I say and take it out of context. But it doesn't take a lot of skill and training to stick your thumb in somebody's eye socket and roll his eyeball out or pop it. It doesn't take a lot of training to stomp on somebody's foot and break the metatarsals and maybe other things, various things that you can do when it's legally, when you feel legally justified in protecting your life. I don't subscribe to the thought that a lot of these people I've seen advertising, hey, take my course and in 3 hours you'll be able to fight like a Marsoc raider, or a Force Recon Super Wazoo elite warrior. That's just nonsense, and it's playing on people's vanity. It's preying on their fears, and I get it. That's good marketing, but that's not what I'm about. I want to teach people to take care of themselves and others, and sometimes one of the best ways to do that is to avoid problems. Somebody insults you, okay. I've had lots of people insult me, my manhood, my wife, my kids, my mom, my dog, my car. I really don't care. If I can walk away and, that's that, and I've succeeded. Because in a real confrontation, and I've been in very, very, very few circumstances where, my life was actually potentially in danger. And a lot of that was, and of those very, very few circumstances or instances, a lot of that was when I was a deputy sheriff. Granted, I was a reservist with LA County, but still, we would voluntarily put ourselves in situations to protect others. And if it wasn't for a certain level of training that gave us the confidence that we could be competent in the use of violence, to, just that alone de-escalated most circumstances, or most instances where things could have gotten out of hand. And it helped to have, Mr. Beretta in your hand. That helped too. But being willing to engage, if necessary, that a lot of that, the criminal element is very good at reading people. They can read survivors, they can read victims. And I use the term survivor very advisedly and deliberately, because in a situation where things are truly not just like playground fights or social posturing, but in a real encounter that that could be very bad, there are no winners. There's no referees. It's not a cage match. You have survivors. And if you get through and you can go home to your loved ones, you've survived, and that's good. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. Please be careful out there. Be aware that there are people that really adhere to the gospel of victimology, and as a sort of self-fulfilling dynamic, they feel justified in hurting others to minimize what they perceive as their personal pain, instead of trying to fix themselves. They'd rather hurt other people. Whether it's, burglary, rape, murder, whatever, opportunistic, being a high-level sociopath can take a lot of different forms. Some are more socially acceptable than others. Certainly not everybody that's an executive of a huge multinational corporation is a sociopath, don't get me wrong. But there are people that tend to exhibit those tendencies. Some people are there because they enjoy what they do, and they like doing what they enjoy, and it brings value to other people and a sense of fulfillment for them. But just be aware that there's all kinds and classes of bad people out there, male and female. Doesn't matter. You hear the myth of this indigenous culture or this gender or whatever that is better, nicer, kinder, more historically this, that, or the other thing than the other. Nah. We're humans. We're, for better or for worse, we're apex predators. as we've banded together, we've learned to willingly give up some of our coarser natures just so we can live together in civil society and be stronger thereby. It can be a good thing. Anyway, I'm going to head on back to my brother's house and finish getting ready for church. I appreciate you spending time with Dad today. And if anybody has some ideas or insight, I could do research too. I tend to be lazy. I could do some research, but I like talking to mentors about how to maybe put some stuff together online so I can help other people make some money on the side too. It doesn't hurt to monetize what you do. I do a lot of volunteer stuff, so I don't feel bad about trying to make a little bit on the side also. But if anybody has some good insights, please let me know. I also have a family to feed, so I really don't want to spend, thousands of dollars on particular training for how to do that. I've spent thousands of dollars on other kinds of training, firearms and different methodologies of self-defense, and I enjoy it, but I've got other stuff I need to do too, and I want to try to stay narrowly focused and what little bit I do well, I do well. Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Thank you for spending time with Dad.